Another life again. And title of the life is What's After Life. Might state, I might act, conduct myself as at a capacity as unknown, and I don't want people to get that impression. You know, everything I state is based upon my perception from based upon my perception from what I had to deal with on all my experiences. So I'm talking about the afterlife. Well, what's afterlife or what's after life, right? I can I can tell for sure. I can't tell at all because I've never been in that position, right? Nor am I planning to be in that position of to find out what's afterlife or what's afterlife, what's the afterlife. You know, I have to affirm that and state that before I continue um saying anything practically, you know, because I don't want to affirm anything negative or chuck anything negative. Uh, I know it's pretty early, 1:44. I just was up thinking about things, you know, but something I just was thinking about, right? And is a heavy concept to understand. Remember where I said there is nothing but life, and this is a simulation, similar to a video game, like modern day video, right? What if, what if you were a character or avatar or character, right? Actor, right? You are an avatar. You are the model piece, similar to on a chessboard, but similar to a game character, right? And what's going on is God is looking to have an experience through you, but all His wisdom. I don't even like to say His, because really God is not beyond like an abstract construct, but magnum opus, the masterpiece, right? Which we supposed to be, right? Um, so say you're chopped, not chopped, because whether I don't entirely get along down with all of the agnostic, esoteric knowledge to say as if God trapped me here on earth and I'm falling light. In construct, you can see where it coming from because you are light slowed down, right? That slowed down and has been crystallized. That's what matter is, right? So imagine. yourself now. Not imagine because you're already doing that, right? Um, so just have this understanding that if you were a game character and every time you you become wasted, died, I don't even like to use that term. You pass off and like video game, every video game, you restart. But the difference is with the avatar that you're playing as, the controller is yourself and it's based upon how much experience you have, how much wisdom you have, how much knowledge you have, and all of that from after you passed off, they reset every time, you know, like a cycle, right? Until you get it right or you pass that level. And then if you pass that level and happen to pass off again, and sometimes people talk about deja vu. Why people believe, why would people have an experience, right? And remember it. Have an experience and remember it, right? It's possible that the the experience that they might be having currently is so similar or resonate so close to something they've already experienced that to their brain, to their mind, they're imagining it as if you know it's deja vu, but really it could be the fact that the mind operates in a mysterious way, right? Even without us being conscious of it, as you have the subconscious mind, so predictive programming, right? That could be an argument, right? So with the afterlife, you say that you reset every time you didn't make it past a certain challenge, or you may be passed off of from natural causes, and that's for some it be like internal damnation because you're repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and over, you know. But for some people, they have had a content life, would have a content life that it would be okay to go back at it again. And if they do pass off after 10 years, not 10 years, what? I kind of still, I hadn't really sleep much. Well, I feel well rested. I feel well rested. I feel well rested. But to continue with this discussion, right? Some people, some people had a okay content, not rough life. So to them, that whole their whole entire life would come back in circle and feel as if bliss and like heaven. But for most people, right, they made so many mistakes and their mistakes, they contemplate on their mistakes and see themselves as a failure, right? They don't never strive to do anything, and certain challenges that come up, they drag their feet, they talk about they're depressed, you know, that's hell. They're constantly frustrated, angry, and I don't necessarily. like to consider anger as a bad thing, but you're constantly angry, that's hell. And if say you die miserably, right? You die miserably. You have to do it all over again till you get it right. And then, there is this chemical that you produce called DMT, dimethyl or something like that, right? That correlates with what I'm saying, right? People, they've done studies and experiment where people have died over, they allow people to suffocate or become asphyxiated long enough to pass off and be able to revive them. And they notice that the body is flooded with this chemical after near death experience, any near death experience actually, right? And you can be able to live an entire life. You will feel as if you lived an entire life in that asphyxiated state or in that state of, you know, losing consciousness, losing grip on this reality, right? And you go and experience, live out your life in this short space of time, right? Or imagine how relative, how fast thought must be to able to construct a whole reality, a whole entire reality with physics, right? All in your head, all taking place in your head, right? Everything is mental, right? You, what would I say now? Getting at, you know, with physics, right? It has its own, it has the same real world physics, everything, everything. And when these patients they had resuscitated, they had a lot to say about their experience, as if everything felt real to them in these asphyxiated states, right? They're saying that this chemical, this chemical that you produce in near-death experiences, right, is a God chemical, right? And I'm not really up there right now, but I just gonna push through and do it, regardless of whether this I it never matter before, whether however I produced my content. I just made these contents because I like to be able to voice my opinion. I never growing up, never had that much of a voice. And I came across these things. It isn't. It's more like these things. I had an I had an affinity for. You know, I had an affinity for, and it brought me some internal peace, and it kept me going. You know, kept me going. A lot of things I've done, experienced because of this knowledge and wisdom that's been bestowed to me by some, not some, the higher, the Almighty, as I refer to it. But with that, I also want to talk about that too, cause you have a lot of entities out there, some malevolent, some, and how these entities exhibit themselves is through habits and patterns of human nature, right? So you have good and evil don't exist, only exist in the realm of our mind. The realm of the mind is something, some trait that's associated only, right? To be evil or good. Right? And that's the trick of the serpent. But I don't want to be rambling on because sometimes I fall short in doing that, just rambling on and not really saying, putting the right specified context that's that's maybe needed to fully understand or grasp what I'm saying. And I do apologize. I do understand I do that at times. And I do apologize for what I was talking. Life after death. What was I talking about now? Life after death. Being an avatar and a vessel of God. And oh yeah, I was on how these entities exhibit themselves or manifest themselves is through your patterns or habits or your thoughts, how you the conditioning of your mindset or your mind frame, right? What stuff that you're attracted to, right? So when you're saying somebody's possessed, right? They're just exhibiting certain patterns that allow them to resonate because we're like radios, we're like, or what you would call it. What you call those big um things that also transmit, not a dish, not a dish, but I don't really have those things. Well, I think I do. We do because we do have radio stations over here. Those towers, right? Those towers. I can't really call the name now, but yeah, information from the universe is being constantly projected to you, and you also send out information to the universe, right? But you're not conscious of it. The thing is to become conscious of your habits and come away. When you become conscious of certain things, when you become conscious of certain things, these spirits that dwell in you, spirit programmings that dwell in you. The spirit is the code. The spirit is the code, but you have to understand that these things you have over time accumulated from the world, right? And it's not really part of you because truly you are the soul, and the soul does not die. It's eternal. It's eternal, right? That's the God within you. So, with that afterlife, is nothing but life, life, and more life. There's no opposition to life. There's no antonym. There's no nothing. It's just life, life, and more life, right? So, yeah, basically, what I'm talking about is there's different levels to it, but reincarnation, right? Reincarnation. So, you have your ancestors within you, you have your parents, you have everything within you. The whole universe lies within you, right? You're experiencing everything, not outside yourself, but within yourself, you know? And the free will that God gave man or Adam, depending on whatever, regardless of their situation, they always have a choice on how they deal with an issue or a problem or some challenge. You know, they always have a choice. It might seem like that sometimes, but that's the illusion. The devil, Satan, Lucifer want you to cast over your eyes so you can't see the forest beyond the trees. The forest is not just one tree, it's the collective of the tree. The collective, everything is one, right? And we're in the Taurus, what do you call it? The Taurus. Can't even remember. But I've talked about that. I've talked about the big and no, magnetic, no, magno electric world. Yeah, yeah. So God is within, is the center of all things. So we're looking outside to find God at the breaches of the end of the universe, when really we need to look, should be looking inside, because if you look at it, right, we're constantly expanding and contracting the whole entire universe, and you know, the Big Bang clearly started in the center. So looking outside, I don't you would find anything outside the realms of the universe. I doubt you would find anything but the aftershock still passing of that Big Bang, as they refer to it. The Aborigines in Australia call it three songs. For us who are under, you know, the Christian or pros, is Protestant, is it Protestant? I don't even know what I'm talking about. Where people read the Bible 6 days, God took the earth to make the world through the Logos, through the Word. The Word is God, and the God was the Word. Right? Think of it, a big bang, you know, big clash, a sound, explosion, you know, and light. So, from my understanding, if you were to find the center of this universe, right? The construct, whatever construct or understanding we can fathom, the source, the supreme would be right there. But that's just my opinion, anyways. So I say like that outside that universe, you just would be seeing the shockwave of the Big Bang and life being created, more life, and life, you know. So with the afterlife, it's just more life, and it's all up to us to finally get it right and become the magnum opus, the masterpiece of God. I mean, I felt what I would like to share. I felt, at one time growing up, I started to feel as if I become, or maybe was off with things, like things would occur, and this is not even me using no practical skill of heightened psychic abilities like people can, but it's really, I'm not even going to get into that right now. I'm not saying I'm psychic. I'm not telling anybody I'm psychic, right? But with that, I've always, it felt like it stopped at one point where the strong deja vu, but after I've reached a certain age, I don't really feel deja vu anymore. That's what I noticed. So I saying like, let's just play around with our imagination for a minute, right? So saying that, I remember me growing up young, it was very strong. So I was saying, all right, it was very violent when I was young. These people that I was living in was very violent. So um, I had precognition. It felt like precognition at times where I knew something was just going to come. So or I knew things way before it even happened, and it popped up in my head, and I'll be talking about it as if it's my own individual ideas and thoughts that come together, right? And it was so fascinating to me how I could have come up with something. So, and then I would go and see the same thing or same story or same exactly orchestrated how I visualized it in my mind, either on the TV or in a book. It just came off quite strange to me. And then I could, then now it occurred to me, how did I feel like I'd watched this before? Like, beyond me thinking they're ripping me off, or maybe this, because as a little kid, you heard the word rip off, and you just start using it every day. You just start using it towards anything. Like, oh, that's a rip off, right? So I was like, but outside of me feeling this is a rip off, it feel like I was just here and right here, and this is how I know of it. But how did I remember it before, or how, it don't really. And if I will get tangled into. If I continue, I'll get tangled into the wordplay and you know these abstract constructs, these abstract constructs or concepts that I'm putting on. You know. So what my understanding, maybe those times I had to repeat a lot to pass that brink, because after a while Yeah, I never felt deja vu. And it always feel like I feel deja vu uh, in a time of my life where is more the most harsh or most most harshest times of my life, you know, and those memories or those deja vu moments, I feel personally helped me to keep on going because I knew it was coming, and a lot of times, I've avoided life-threatening situations and gotten out unscathed, you know. But after a certain while, after I became 19, I never felt nothing nothing anymore. Not knowing, and I never had a father Roma. I'm not complaining. I don't want people. I actually felt all my life comfortable, and I'm really glad that I reached this stage in my life where nobody, I'm not idol worshiping anything or nothing. I don't have nobody to really tell me what to do. I can go out and seek advice from somebody, and it's here and there. I can take it, and I have the choice, definitely. Although people like to make it seem as if that's not a viable choice for you, I always have the choice to leave it if I feel as if it's rotten, right? And putrefied. So I won't bite into that apple, right? I won't bite into the apple if he is, but I feel the impression, and I'll get the impression that I'll feel people intentions, right? And sometimes that this is why I'm telling you the construct of good and evil don't exist. Because if somebody can do good or have the intent to do good, and bad results can come out. That means, and people can do evil, right? And get good results and produce good too. It all comes down to what the motive, the motive, and intention too. But people can have evil intentions and good can come from it. Like, you know, all right, what would you associate with your imagination with evil? You would associate things that are really cruddy in reality. Like, so okay, anything pertaining to, like, for instance, your feces, a decomposed body, maggots, flies, right? Things that are not clean, you'd associate with anything that's evil. But when you look at it real good, right? With all these things serve a purpose, right? These things serve a purpose, right? Flies clean the earth, right? They take up they clean the earth. Maggots also do that too. Um, you can use feces as manure, right? And grow something beautiful up out of it, right? A beautiful flower. You can grow a decomposed body. A decomposed body, if you were to put it in the earth, it's just returning to the earth and restoring the minerals, and all the, you know, minerals back into the earth, right? So, a lot of good, and I'm saying I don't want to, like I always say, I don't want to be that serpent. I'm not a serpent. I'm not a serpent trying to draw people in to believe anything without having the fundamentals and the fundamental stuff. Because I don't really talk about fundamental stuff because it's really, if I was to sit down, there's a lot of things I've had to experience to come to understand these overstandings and understandings, right? So above, so below, right? So you had not gone through my experiences to full to fully embrace this knowledge because it's hard. Why noticing I'm noticing no, I knew certain things but I wasn't embracing it, right? And that was conducive to fear, lack of a lot of things, you know privacy, you know like I telling you that I don't really have anybody constraining my over my mind. Shackle if I put out myself, I sell myself out there, and I have to work it within a company and follow the guidelines and rules, right? I always understand so I can after I leave this building, I can reprogram my mind or set back the conditions that brought me to that company, right? So, that's what I appreciate of God. God gave me, you know, some